Welcome to Partners and Pathways podcast, navigating HR together. Welcome to Partners and Pathways podcast, your podcast where we navigate HR together. It is so amazing to have you back on yet another episode. Today we're going to be talking about something very interesting. It's part of the evolving nature of the work that we have now, and that is remote work. There are people who like it. There are people who don't like it so much. And we're exploring it because of the shift in the workspace. After the pandemic, people have realized, or organizations have realized, the need to change how we work, how we do things, and how we're able to stay open and committed to the work that we're doing, even if we cannot physically be in the same space. So we have new entrants also into the workspace, and that is our Gen Z colleagues. Some of them went to school online, and some of them started working during the pandemic. And, they're kind of used to doing things remotely. And technology has made it very easy for us. You don't have to be in the same space. You don't have to always travel physically to a location. You're able to be productive wherever you are. However, we're seeing a shift, especially in countries like the US, where they're pushing back on some of these changes that we started seeing during the pandemic. So we really want to just talk about remote work, what it is, how you can navigate it, whether it is the best. And I'm hoping that at some point we'll have the reverse conversation or a debate between remote work and physically being in the office. This episode is going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm so excited to be back here again. And I have my very good friend and sister joining me today. And, I'm really excited, and I can't wait to have this conversation with her. Fatima, welcome to Partners and Pathways podcast. So good to have you here.
Good morning, Sarah, and thanks for having me. I have to let you into a little secret that I've always wanted to be a guest on the podcast, just to know. So there you go. I've ticked a box. So thank you so much for having me, and well done. I know the conversations we've had around different initiatives that you wanted to do. So well done for making this move. And I feel honored to be here with you today, and looking forward to, as you said, it should be an interesting.
Yes. I know it's going to be amazing. So I always kick off with stories. I love stories. So how did you end up in HR? So introduce yourself and tell us what your journey has been like.
So my full name is Fatima Kabia, and currently as on the show and as an HR practitioner. And it's quite interesting in terms. Well, I think it's interesting in terms of how my journey into HR started. So the first role I had in the UK, managing a team, involved recruitment, performance management, but then my job title was a team leader, and then we had an HR department, but there was that element of, as I said, recruitment, performance appraisal, and everything. And so I thought to myself, along the lines, okay, I'd done HR as a unit when I was doing my MBA, but not one of the core units, and really didn't pay much attention to it. And I'm humble enough to say, in terms of grading, it was my weakest grade. I passed, but it was in my weakest grade because, as I said, okay, what's the unit you can take. Let me go for
HR.
HR.
Yeah.
So-
Seems easy.
seems easy. Seems easy enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we fast forward, um, you know, left that organization, ended up in Sierra Leone, with a company, and I was doing part of the, like learning and development and everything, and didn't last there very long. And then a mutual friend was looking for some reorganization in a restructuring
Yeah.
in her company, or the company where she was also one of the managers. We were having this conversation, and she was like, "Okay, can you do A, B, C, D?" And I'm like, I'm going to be bold enough and say, yes, I can do it. She's like, well, you have to do a concept note. So,
What's that?
So I quickly did something, and she was impressed with it. And she was like, okay, we'll phase it out and everything. And, did it. She was happy with the result and everything. I was like,
I can do this.
I think I can do it. But most importantly, along all that, the way I see HR, I've always said it's a level of customer care.
Yes.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Each person, as I say, customer service is when you're dealing with a particular customer. It's like they're the only customer in the room.
Yeah.
You forget about everything else, all the other one, it's that individual. And so because of that, and I'm passionate about really supporting people, supporting my family, enabling, people around me.
Yeah.
So I just thought, okay, this is an area I strongly believe I'll thrive in. So as I will say, many months after, here I am.
Yes, and I personally have enjoyed that support. By the way, she's my madam, so so yes, I have enjoyed your support, and I've really, we worked together, and I've really enjoyed that work relationship, and it has grown, even beyond work, and we keep in touch and all of that. So amazing, good stuff. I'm so happy to hear that story and to have you here. So, remote work. Remote work, hybrid work, all that flexible arrangements. That is what we're looking at. So can you just share your own personal story into this whole new world of doing things remotely? Yeah.
Yeah, changing times.
Yeah.
And more you see the pros and the cons, advantages, disadvantages, however we want to play it out. And I have to say again, going back, I'll give I have a lot of stories because I'm not that young. I've seen a few years.
You are young. But yeah, we love stories.
So when I was, started working and everything, I could never do remote working.
Yeah.
I had to be in that physical space. I enjoyed that interaction, It just felt like being at home, isolation.
Yeah.
And I used to frown when I hear the people saying, oh, this person is working from home. I'm like, working from home? What are they doing?
Yeah.
They just be sitting there in their PJs,
Yeah.
And COVID came, and no choice. I have to say, I struggled at the beginning. Really, I am one of those people that really struggled at the beginning to settle. And then eventually, and I always say it's human beings, the mind over matter, and so eventually, if I can say, it was like warming up. I'm like, I don't have a choice really. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And so it's now looking about how to adapt to it. So it's quite interesting. I live in the same house as my brother, and between Freetown and when I'll come to the UK. And so the first time I was like, finished my leave, and then I had to do some work, and he was like, I woke up, I got all dressed, had my bag, had my laptop, And he was like, "Where are you going? You don't have an office here." So I'm going to work.
Where?
It's like, "You're all dressed up." I said, "Yes." For me, it was all part of the process mentally,
Yeah.
getting ready. And so for me, that really helped.
Yeah.
Just waking up, getting out of, this
Your
is not
PJs.
something
Yes.
casual.
Yes.
This is I'm getting
Yeah.
ready. I'm getting ready for work. And then it just so that shift immediately. I'm not home. I'm here to work. And so but as you say, as we've seen, there's those that like it or love it. There are those that are in the middle. There are those that can't handle remote work at all. And for various reasons, so it's really a case of, I would say, of how do you really strike the balance. And again, from my experience, it's all looking at the environment, the context of, where the person is and everything.
Yeah.
That all has to be taken into consideration if we really want to get the best out of, however we want to put it, remote, hybrid, flexi time and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned how different people view different remote work differently, and one of the arguments that I've heard is around productivity and performance. Some people are of the school of thought that you cannot be at home and be productive. Some people believe that they're more productive when they're working from home because there are no distractions, there are no colleagues to be like, "Hey, have you done this? Did you see the game yesterday? Did this happen?" So some people believe that small isolation is better for them. So for you, how have you managed or stayed productive even while working from home and making sure that your performance didn't drop? You're not dropping the ball just because you're working from home.
Yeah. In fact, for me, I believe in terms of my performance, I would say it probably
Went up. Yeah.
Because with working for, and again, that's where you have to, as you say, you weigh that working from home. Because just the other day I was saying, when I work from home, then I automatically even forget that I need to go take a break, have lunch.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there. Yes, I will move away from the desk, have a stretch here, there, have a snack or what. But that proper, say, take that time out, be it half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever is allocated for lunch, you're not doing it. And then you get so carried away because you're thinking, okay, I don't have to log off, jump on a train, jump on a bus, jump into my car to drive home. And by the time you look at your clock or whatever, you're thinking, oh, it's past an hour.
Yes.
And I'm still on.
Yeah.
So, but then again, and for me, that's, as I said, that's my personal experience.
Yeah.
But again, getting now into that discipline, because at the end of the day, the well-being factor comes into this, and I'm a big person on well-being.
Yeah.
So for me, again, it's setting my boundaries to say, okay, these are my working hours. The one-off in terms of going over, yes, but it's,
can't be a continuous thing.
Yes, it can't be continuous.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. So you have your own you figured it out for yourself, how to discipline yourself, how to structure yourself that it works for you. However, you may have a team. You're not there with your team. You're assuming, or you believe that they are also having some sort of discipline and doing what they're supposed to do. So how can you tackle that as a line manager? You have line reports. You're not there with them physically. What can you do to make sure that they are also just as productive as you are?
So with any relationships, as we know, relationships are built on trust.
Yes.
That has to be the foundation.
Yeah.
The foundation of it. And the way I work, as you say, not being in that physical space with colleagues that you line manage. It's having that mutual accountability and trust. And again, as I said earlier on, looking at the context and also the flexibility, because then we need to move away from that, again, traditional, of okay, 9 to 5, 8 to 4, whatever the hours are, and understanding your team,
Yeah.
and in terms of productivity and everything. First of all, we have to look at, okay, are you getting the best out of somebody throughout the day? Or are you looking really to say, okay, if I need the work done, I get it done, and again, how are you both going to understand without anybody taking each other for granted in the process? So not because I'm flexible, because you're producing results, means that, okay, if this is the arrangement, you're not coming back and say to me, well, if you can't get hold of me at the end of the day, I'm giving you what you want, So it's, for me, as always, I believe in, as I said, that trust, understanding each other, setting clear lines of expectations.
Yes.
To get the best results.
Yeah. It's really important. And then one of the things is, especially when you deal with very traditional colleagues who just don't believe in it, right? There's a lot of skepticism around it. How do you navigate such people? Because there might be people who, I'll give you an example. I had this colleague who wasn't a morning person, and he was very honest about it. He says, my day starts around 10 a.m. That's when my brain really starts to function. It's around 10 a.m. But I have to be at the office this early. So I'll be very honest with you. For the first 2 hours of the day, I'm really not very productive. If I can be allowed to come in at this so time, that would be great for me, because you're getting me at, my set time. And I know that at that time, the organization was not really, in terms of their own line manager, was not very flexible to allow them come in at that time. So how do you convince people? I don't know if that's the right word. How do you convince people that people are different? We're all different. We all operate differently. And sometimes that level of flexibility, like you said, understanding your team and making sure you're getting the best out of them.
So yeah, I mean, as you've said, it's interesting, because I've always said that for me, after 4 p.m., my brain goes into a sleep mode.
Yeah.
And that started when I had my child and I had to take her to daycare and then pick her up. So I was doing I think it was an 8 to 4 shift or 7 to 4. So I will pick her up and her dad will drop her. So going into the office very early and then finishing at 4. And that just, it's now stuck.
Yeah.
And I just avoid meetings after 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I can go to a meeting, but my participation level will be very low. So you want the best from me? Get me in at 8 and then get me out at 4.
Yeah.
So again, and every time I've had, say, a new line manager, I've made that clear. If I can negotiate those hours, 7 to 4, 8 to 4, depending on where I am, fine. If I can't, I just make it, I have that conversation. I'm honest enough to have that conversation. And I've been fortunate enough to be in a position where I've had understanding line managers and everything. And so again, as you said, if somebody is honest enough with you to say, this is when I'm active, and so when we talk about putting all these things in place, flexi time, and we talk about staff well-being, it's all these things.
Yeah.
So if somebody starts their productivity at 10, then we're negotiating to see, okay, so how far can you go each the day?
Yes.
And again, looking at, because again, it depends on roles. So roles, you look at it, context again.
Yes.
That, okay, 10 o'clock might be too late.
Yes.
We really need, and we
Earlier.
see how we negotiate. So it's all about negotiating and looking again, okay, at the talents, as you say, the talent you have. At times you have to think, okay, is it really worth negotiation with this talent?
Yes.
Because this is a talent that we don't want to do. We don't want to lose, and see how best we can support. Or even at times, even if it's not talent that you're saying you don't want to lose, but for various reasons, there might be reasons that person might not have really even come out with to say why, it's at 10 their days really start. So if we're saying flexibility, then we really need to also have, as line managers, that capacity in us to say, okay, it just can't be a policy, but we need to put it into practice.
We have to match our words with actions. Yes,
exactly.
Yes, and that's what keeps our teams, because they see what the things that we do, not necessarily the things that we say. So that's great. The other thing is around accountability, because you may be as well intentioned as you possibly can. You may have these systems, have these processes, give people this flexibility, but they're just not being accountable. So speaking from your own perspective, what has helped you to remain accountable, even though there's no boss watching over you? And how can people just try to demonstrate this accountability? Because like you said, it's a trust relationship. I trust that I'm not in the same space with you. However, you're being productive. So how can I make sure that I am accountable as an employee also?
And I think for me, again, it's about being professional. If your organization has put that trust in you and say, you can work from home, it's an agreement, and so what do you give in return? The accountability side of it, and with everything that we do in our agreements, in relationships, there are terms and conditions. And so if, as I've said, I've put in my case, I want to work from home, these are the expectations. At the end of the day, accountability comes into play. And I always say that the workplace isn't to babysit people. There should be consequences. We come in, we know the terms, we know the conditions. We cannot, go about babysitting people, because for me, I'm flexible in terms of, managing teams. There's the empathy and all that. But work also is work. And we need at the end of the day, we need to get things done. And that's the area of accountability. And as I said, we're only humans. Let's always be humble and open and transparent enough to have those conversations. If things are changing, and we want to do things this way, or we can no longer do it as per the original agreement. I always use this phrase that, most agreements, or if I can say that, they're not like the Quran or the Bible. It's not written in stone that we can't go back and negotiate on it. So let's have those conversations. It's all about being humble and open and honest enough to say, I'm struggling with this. This is why I haven't been able to do this, or I need to go back and look at, what the terms and conditions are. Yes, there are times when they cannot be changed, but it's having the conversation at least than, you have people second guessing in terms of why you're not delivering and what's happening.
And it also, I think, ties in with openness to receive such feedback. Because there are instances where some people are like, okay, I've done this for you. I can't go back and like you said, it's not cast in stone. We can be flexible. We can think things differently and understand that situations change for people. So I think there's a level of openness that is also required from like line managers and like organizational leaders to be able to listen to what their team is feeling, what they're going through, how they can support them. For example, if I didn't have a child and now I have a child, circumstances change and my priorities will change as well. So those are some of the things that I hope that organizations are able to pay attention to, listen to. At the end of the day, it is productivity. Like you said, work is work. We still have to deliver. We still have to make sure that we're meeting the needs that we set out to meet. So yeah, that's very great. But accountability, I do agree. It is very, very important. Okay, so what is, let me say, I don't want to say one benefit, but what is a benefit or something that has surprised you with working remotely as a positive?
Yeah. As I said, the surprising benefit for me, as I said, because I was never a fan of working from home.
Yeah.
So I say the surprising benefit really is my performance level, and just in terms of productivity. So I mean, yes, we say in the workplace we talk about the distractions, but then again at home there are also the distractions.
Yes.
So, but for me, that has just been really in terms of just that settling in, that the flexibility and the trust, gaining the trust, between from my line manager, from the organization as a whole.
Yeah.
And more and more becoming, as I say, very proactive in terms of what I need done.
Yeah.
In terms for added benefits to the team. So yeah, because as I said, I really didn't believe working from home will work.
Yeah.
I'll get to that point.
Yeah.
And now I'm even thinking if I had to start going back into the office.
I was going to ask you that. Can you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy that. I really do enjoy that social interaction.
Yeah.
That it's different. The connectivity and everything. But then in the line of the work, that what I do and everything, working from home is just really perfect for me.
Yeah.
At the moment. Yeah. As you say, the productivity. I know when and then, if I can just go a little bit, say a little bit more. As you say, when we're looking at the pros and the cons of working from home, I've had conversations where people say, "Oh, working from home takes away the visibility from, in terms of my career development, because I'm not in that physical space with management, that interaction and everything." But as I said, for me, I look at it the other way in terms of my productivity level, my performance level. So it's working in my favor.
Yeah.
And I've seen career development in this few years of working from home.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, one of the things for me is so you can do costs however you want to do it, but one of the things I enjoy is that it saves me cost, just cost of being out on the road, cost of driving, spending hours driving, the risk of, accidents happen anywhere, but it just doubles when you're on the road commuting. And just that you're able to comfortably switch from relaxed to serious. I think that those are like some of the things that I enjoy. I have done hybrid before, and those are the things that I really enjoy when I have to do hybrid. And I find I'm one of those persons who would say I am more productive when I'm by myself. Also because I'm introverted. You know, I'll socialize, but I really quickly want to go back to my little corner to recharge. So working from home gives you that as well, so yeah, I feel you when you talk about some of the benefits, and yeah, I absolutely agree. So looking ahead to the future, what do you think is in store? We are seeing the US, which is a major leader in terms of workforce and workforce management, pushing back on some of these things. And people are asking, was this a good move? Did we panic too much? Are we doing too much with all of this? And we have people who cannot even, like you said, cannot even imagine going back to the office. What does the future look like when it comes to how we would be working?
I mean, with, as I say, as the future is the future.
Yeah.
So, and we always hope for the best.
Yes.
And so when you hear these conversations around, going back into the office, organizations that want staff to go back in, people that don't want to go back into the office, people that want to go, again, as we say, where are we heading to, or what lies there?
And yeah.
Again, you mentioned something around cost. There are organizations that have, looked at, okay, working from home, having people at home, the savings in cost and everything.
Yeah.
And for me, I've always had this question in my head, as in all these organizations that have been saving cost, where has that cost saving gone to?
Yeah.
Has it just stayed making interest, or has it
have
been
plowed it back into the lives of your staff?
So and so it's then looking at that and weighing, asking people to go back into the office. We had a year, almost 2 years of COVID, where everybody stayed at home, and maybe the organizations that establishments that suffered were like maybe the restaurants, where that you had to be. But then obviously we had all these delivery services now booming and everything.
Yeah.
So again, looking at, how much did we lose in terms of productivity, in terms of revenue, in terms of costs and everything, for working from home and getting, people back into the office. Is it really about productivity, or is it really about control?
Yeah.
So these are all, again, but then with everything, as you say, when you look at, you then have to look at context, because organizations put forward, when they're talking to employees, they'll put forward their case. We want you to come back into the office because of ABC. But then it's about being really, really, again, honest and realistic with the workforce. Your workforce. And do you want to lose talent by being rigid?
Yes.
Or are you flexible enough to keep people on board and have business continuity? Yeah.
So it's your choice, really. It's your choice. And I think we had the pandemic shift the needle. I think another thing that will continue to shift that needle is AI, and how it is just changing the landscape, and how a lot of us need to evolve with the machines, as it were. So we will see, I believe, those kinds of things happening more and more, or such requests, that's what I mean, happening more and more within the workspace, where people want some level of flexibility. And I just love what she said about control, because sometimes it's really just about that. It's not about productivity. It's just I see you, hence some part of me just feels fulfilled. Meanwhile, people can come into the office and they're doing nothing. nothing. They're just physically there and they're not productive. So we really have to rethink what we want out of our workforce, whether it's just productivity or we just want them to clock in and clock out. So finally, let's say I'm a line manager and I'm struggling with this for my team, remote work or not remote work. And I come and I reach you and I'm like, Fatima, advise me. What would you tell such a line manager? Yeah.
So it's really looking, this is your team, the roles in your team, what different people do.
Yeah.
There's some, as I say, I think I mentioned it earlier, there's some roles that, okay, you're thinking remote work, not really for this kind of role, But again, the flexibility, the transparency, openness, expectations, and that mutual accountability in terms of, okay, and most important of all, where I started, the foundation of trust.
Yeah.
So it's understanding your team. You have a team. As you go along, you really should be in that position where you're understanding everybody's level of productivity, their strengths, their weaknesses, their best times, their low times, and everything. And these are all the factors you take into consideration when you want to make a decision, and of course the context. Now we see teams all over. They say one of the advantages of remote work is now you can access talent all across the world.
Yes.
Because remotely, depending on obviously legal requirements in terms of where organizations are based. But really, because it's the whole idea about the team is the diversity.
Yep.
So it's looking at that, and you don't want anybody left out, and see how best can support, as you say, trust. For me, a big thing, trust, and then you take it from there. And it's a process, and there has to be that review as you go along. Has it been working? Has it not been working? Where do we need to make adjustments here and there?
Yeah. Fabulous. Oh, wow. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. I hope you have enjoyed being here. You have had as much fun as I have had.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
And well done.
Thank you. So well done is Fatima's new favorite word. By the way, this is her first time in Nigeria, and so let me hear, how has it been? Have you been enjoying it here?
Fantastic. As I said to you, the whole everybody all over the world knows about Nigeria.
Yeah.
I mean, being from Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting here thinking, why did I leave it till now? But I'm happy.
Come back.
And Nigeria, I'm just, as I said to you earlier, I'm just in Abuja, but I'm truly overwhelmed
by the vastness.
Yeah, but absolutely loving it, and I'll definitely come back.
Yay! All right, so we look forward to having you. Thank you so much for making the time. We know we will invite you to our show again. Safe travels when you do leave, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that's our episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will come your way again. Before then, do not forget to like, subscribe, follow us on all our social media platforms. Until we come your way again, stay safe. Bye.